This is the sleeve that we are working on. This is me taking off the band. The band, I used a stretchy fabric. See, the first one that I did, I added horsehair. I didn't like how coily it was looking. This is the second one that I did. I added a little bit of organza to stiffen this. Now, this is the pattern layout. See how I marked it? You just look at the mark to be able to get it laid out this way. Now, if I'm to make this again, I'm going to stiffen the sleeve with cloth gum or cloth stay to give it, to allow it stand the way the crochet. This one we are copying from, or that's our inspiration. It's actually an inspiration. It's a crochet. You know, the two sleeves were actually done a bit differently. This was different from this. I don't know. It was done on purpose. That's part of the style. I don't know. But I decided, and since mine was patterned, to use the same pattern to duplicate both sleeves. The down part, you can see how small it is. So now, if you're going to have to manipulate it, this is the best flat way to start. You know, after having marked this, I made it double. That's one is going to be the underlay, the one that's going to be inside, that will hold everything. The other one is the outer one. Now, this is our outer one now. You see the way it is still marked. You know, so this is me cutting it out. As you cut out, you mark. It's going to help you be able to know what you're actually working on. So I'm going to cut everything out. I've cut everything out. Then the next thing we're going to be doing here is to slash and spread to add volume to it. I don't know, I've not made this placing it on top. I sincerely have not tried it. I wouldn't know if that would work, but I wouldn't even know if it would be easier. This is the underlay. I've cut that out too. I'm keeping it aside for later. Add 1.5 inch allowance to the side seam as you start, because if you don't, it's going to be a little bit tight when you're done. Now, I use the stretchy fabric for the down part, the cuff part. Now, this is me slashing it and spreading. I've placed, this is the small one, is the number 1. This is number 3. I added 1.5 inch to the number 3. To allow it cover. Adding volume will allow it cover where the joint is and make it look better. Adding to the side actually completes it for you. Now, the number 1, I added about 1 inch to it and curved into it naturally. In doing this, I kept looking at the pictures to help. Now, this is number 2. Number 2 has quite an unusual shape. So to get out the flay of number 2, I added another paper under and then marked it out. You know, the flay of the number 2 came about about 2.5 inch. That's the finished length. So what happened is that after I was done, I looked at it where I have to add sewing allowance. I added sewing allowance to it. So what I was doing here is to get out the finished length, because after everything I had to look at it to be sure I liked the length before I continue to fabric. Now this means slashing and spreading these two. I filled with another paper and see where the volume is concentrated on the sleeve. That's where I added more volume to it. And by the time you place it to this is how it looks like. Keeping this aside, this is number 4. Number 4 added a piece of paper that's about 4.5 or 5 inches to number 4, the way you see me doing it. The length of the paper, it's about 3.5 inches. That's me straightening that part now. So slashing and spreading. As I open out, going to now use another paper to fill it. So it's already filled. See how it's looking like. This is, everything here is half, so this is the other half, that's the underlay. If you place it, this is what it looks like. Now this, I have everything laid out now. The other is the underlay and the flare. So if you place together, that's how you sew. You place it that way and sew. This, we've gotten the shape of our number 1. Number 2. This is how to sew it on fabric. Of course, on fabric, I had mine, the flare was 2. So you sew from the flare part, the down part, iron. This is number 3. I sew. That's how you sew. That's how you sew till you get to that point. I actually used the fabric to use here. It's almost 3 yards of fabric, because the sleeve took quite a bit of fabric. So 2.5 can do this. Yeah. Somehow I had a little bit of length in this particular one, so I cut it off because I did this in like how many sections, So after is to arrange it. Number 1 goes to number 2, the way you see me arranging it. After you've sewn on fabric, this is how you arrange. The number 3 goes in between the number 2, the way you see. It's placed. Number 4 goes in between. This way.